In this clever and unique mind reading effect, the end result seems entirely out of your hands, and yet the outcome is totally guaranteed. This is an astonishing display of mind power. This is Coach Trick. Welcome to another amazing and inspiring magic tutorial. Today's trick will have your audience convinced that you really can see into the future and predict the impossible. And you won't even need to borrow a crystal ball. This incredible trick is one of the best. Not only is it entirely self-working, but it can be performed with a shuffled deck and requires absolutely no setup. Watch closely as we unveil the future, piece by piece. As ever, join us until the end as we reflect on the wider transformational power of learning magic. Okay, let's jump into it. Grab a deck and let's go. Okay, as ever, let's kickstart by taking a look at the effect itself. This is going to be a stunning demonstration of influence and prediction. And you're going to start with a shuffled deck. So just hand the deck to the spectator, ask them to give it a shuffle. They can shuffle it as much as they like. The cards really are mixed, and you can show that by spreading the cards like so. Now the first thing you're going to do here is just remove a couple of helper cards from the deck. Now these are a couple of cards that you think are going to help a little bit later on, and you're just going to try to sense a couple of cards could be useful. I think maybe these two cards just here. So you're going to take these cards and you're just going to leave them on the side, and we'll get back to them in just a bit. You're now going to deal some more cards off the top of the deck that we're going to use as clue cards. Now again, you're just going to try to get a sense for how many cards to use here, and I think maybe that's a good number. And in a moment, I'll describe why they're called clue cards. But first, you're going to ask the spectator to take this pack and just to deal 2 even piles of cards. Now they can deal as many cards as they like. They just need to make sure that each pile has the same number of cards in, and that they're also left holding some cards here. So they'll deal a couple of piles of cards. It really is up to them how many cards they deal, but let's say they deal 2 piles of 5 cards. You're now going to ask the spectator to point to one of these piles. It's a totally free choice. Let's say they point to this pile just here. You'll ask them to take that pile and place it on top of the cards in their hand. You're going to take the other pile of cards and you're going to look through these to try to determine the value of the card the spectator will select. And this is why we call these clue cards, because I'm just trying to pick up on the clues contained within. Okay, so I think I've got a good signal from these cards. Once you've got a good signal, you're just going to make your prediction. So on a piece of card or paper, you're just going to note down your prediction for the predicted card. And then you can just fold that up so that it's hidden, and then place that on the table. Now you're going to ask the spectator with their pack of cards to now select a single card, and they're going to do this with the help of the 2 helper cards that we identified earlier on. So ask them to turn over the first helper card, and that will reveal an 8. Now they're just going to deal that many cards from the top of this pack to the bottom of the pack. So in this instance, 8 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they're going to do exactly the same for the second helper card. So ask them to turn that card over, that reveals a 9. So this time they'll count 9 cards from the top to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now ask the spectator to turn the pack over to reveal a single card, the 7 of spades. So in this instance, the 7 of spades will be the spectator's selected card. You also wrote down a prediction based on a set of clue cards dealt to yourself from the shuffled deck. There can be no doubt that this card is randomly chosen. The spectator had a free choice, both in the number of cards they dealt and their selected pile. All that's left to do now is to reveal your prediction, and you can reveal that your prediction is indeed none other than the selected card, the 7 of spades. Okay, so let's take a look at the secret to this miracle. You really do start with a shuffled deck. That all adds to the impact. The spectator can shuffle the cards as much as they like. You can now show that the cards really are mixed just by spreading them like so. And during this, you're secretly just going to note the value of the top card over here. So in this instance, we can see it's the 2 of hearts, and the 2 of hearts is going to be our prediction card. You also just want to remove a couple of helper cards from the deck, and for this you're going to remove any 8 and 9. Now you can display these if you like, but I prefer to keep them hidden until the end, so I'll just keep them face down over here. Now you're going to make it look as though you're casually just taking a random number of cards from the top of the deck, but you're actually going to secretly count out 17 cards and then give these to the spectator. So just casually count out that number and keep the order the same as you're doing so. So just like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16, 17. And then hand the 17 cards to the spectator, and you can place the rest of the deck to the side. The spectator now just needs to deal 2 piles of cards from the pack of 17. They just need to make sure that there's the same number of cards in each pile so that they're even, but they're also left with some cards in their hand. So let's say they deal 2 piles of 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With that done, our prediction card, in this instance the 2 of hearts, is now going to be at the bottom of this pile here. So we can see that just there. Now this is the pile we want the spectator to end up with. So we're going to ask them to point to one of the piles. If they point to this pile, then we'll just ask them to take that pile and add it to the cards in their hand. If they point to this pile, say great, that's the pile I'll use, and then just leave them with this pile here, again adding it to the top of the cards in their hand. You're now going to take your pile and you're just going to look through the cards and pretend that you're trying to ascertain some clues. But really it doesn't matter what these cards are, you're not really doing anything, you're just making it look as though you're trying to come up with a prediction. You can then place these cards aside and then take a piece of paper or card, and you're going to now write down your prediction. This is going to be your prediction card from the beginning. Remember, the original top card of the deck. So in this instance we know it's the 2 of hearts. The spectator, with their pack of cards, will now deal some cards from the top to the bottom of this pack based on the helper cards over here. So remember, we have an 8 and a 9. So for the 8, they'll deal 8 cards from the top to the bottom, and they'll do exactly the same again for the 9. Once they've completed that dealing, they can turn over their pack, and that will reveal the 2 of hearts. And all that's left to do now is to reveal the miracle that somehow, with the assistance of your helper cards and your clue cards, your prediction is indeed none other than the selected card, the 2 of hearts. And there you have it. You've just learned an amazing card trick that blends influence and prediction to create a true magical gem. This trick highlights the power of influence, an essential skill not just in magic, but in everyday life. Being able to influence and persuade others is a key component in achieving success. So harness the skills you gain from magic, your increased confidence, presentation and communication skills, and influence your way to success of your own. Thanks for joining me today. Until next time, keep the magic alive and take care.